is the business of the chassid to live now for the realization of this Messianic age. Paul Levertoff.
So the final chapter, the epilogue of Levertoff's work, Love in the Messianic Age, is titled Love in the Fourth Gospel. Love in the Gospel of John is what he's discussing. He finishes off with discussing this mystical oneness of the church, meaning the body of believers. This mystical oneness of the church, this perfect achdut, is founded on the oneness of Jesus with the Father. It is a reciprocal giving and receiving. This unity of the disciples will be the best proof to the world that God has sent him, quoting John 5:21. This is kind of the centrality of Levertoff's idea that of love in our love of God in preparation for the Messianic age. But the sign of this is this mystical oneness between the body of Messiah and God. And this reciprocal giving and receiving that he talks about is this rule that God does God's part with the expectation that we have our part to play. That it's not just a casual sitting back, but as we mentioned earlier, it's the actively involved in bringing redemption into the world. And why is this a sign? Is because, I mean, if you go back just even a page, Levertoff says, the test of true love for him is love for the brethren. And, you know, that's even what the Gospels mention, that you will know them by their love. This is the greatest sign, that this unity is what is important, is that this love is what separates the body of Messiah in not only its connection to God, but even the rest of the world. It's an element of love and an element of connection that you can't have without Yeshua. The question often comes up, why Yeshua? This is part of answering that question. This aspect of love, this connection for one another that we should have as fellow believers and that we should have towards God, that it's that love of Hashem in preparation for the Messianic age which moves us forward, it drives us, and should be our mission. We absolutely need this message of Levertoff, of achdut, of unity, and I think we almost need it more now than almost any other time before. Levertoff is a Jewish believer who has the ability to speak to other Jewish believers. And as a leader in the Messianic Jewish movement, I can tell you, we need this achdut. There is not that unity like there really should be. That we have splinters of this group doesn't speak to this group, and we have cities where congregations have no idea or connection with other congregations. As believers, we often treat fellow believers worse than we treat people, you know, in our workplace or in other areas. Absolutely, this is a message for the Messianic Jewish movement today. It is a message that preparation for the return of Mashiach will only happen when there's not just that unity with God. I mean, sure, that's a given, but it's not just a unity with God, it's a unity with one another. And that almost more so is a reflection of what Levertoff is talking about, because that is a bigger sign not only to other believers, but to the world in general, that as Yeshua said, and I mentioned earlier, you will know them by their love. If that love isn't there, you're not going to know them.